Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for your daily dose of the roars. When we talk about the really stupid crap going on in the world of technology, so that I can fund Silicon Dojo. Free to end user hands-on technology education in Durham, North Carolina. We have many classes coming up. If you're interested, take a look at our schedule at silicondojo.com. These are in-person hands-on classes in Durham. If you want to help support the project, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, what? I just don't understand. Mommy, I don't understand my industry anymore. So one of the things I've been talking about for a while is this whole circular economy. Circle jerk, as some people might call it, going on in the AI space, right? Where Nvidia is providing OpenAI $100 billion, so OpenAI can then buy, $100 billion of Nvidia hardware. Where like Anthropic, right? So Anthropic is spending $30 billion, or contracted to spend $30 billion on Microsoft, and then Microsoft is then going to provide services using NVIDIA hardware, and then Microsoft is then investing $10 billion into Anthropic, and NVIDIA is investing $5 billion into Anthropic. So it's like, Anthropic is writing this contract to these companies, and these companies are kicking back. Is that a word? I don't know. Anyways, they're then giving money back to Anthropic, right? There's this whole, insanity, right? Anthropic is buying services from Google, but then Google is investing in Anthropic. There's all this stupidity going on. And what I've talked about before is LLMs are cool, right? A lot of people ask, Eli, if you hate AI so much, why is Silicon Dojo constantly teaching classes in AI? One, it's called clickbait. Clickbait is just a fundamental truth to the world, right? I call it, honestly, for my Silicon Dojo classes, I call it AI washing. We learn REST APIs with AI. We learn SQL with AI. We learn Python with AI. We learn computer vision with AI, right? But anyways, the important thing to understand is actually there is a value to the stack. The stack is paradigm shifting. It's just not worth like $1.4 trillion in CapEx expenses alone. It's interesting to think about. Like in 2012 or so, I went to Cisco Live. So Cisco Live, I do believe it was down in Orlando at the time, and they're talking about IoT. So IoT and IOE, back when IOE was still a word, right? They got rid of that word, now it's all IoT. Anyways, and they're talking about the IoT, IOE. The entire addressable market was going to be about $1 trillion. So basically, when we talk about IoT, that is essentially every device, everything you own connecting to the internet. There was the concept, we haven't gotten there, but we're farther than I thought we'd get, where every single house would have 200 IP addresses, right? So the idea is your smartphone and your smartwatch and your smart microwave and your smart stove and all of these other things, right? All of this basically would all go, and it would be connected to the internet, and you could see what the hell is going on, right? We haven't gotten 200 IP addresses, but we've gotten to a lot, probably 50 IP addresses or whatever else. Anyways, Cisco back in 2012 was like, that entire market, that is a $1 trillion market, right? Putting every electronic device on the internet is a $1 trillion total addressable market. And now we get to the world of AI, and Sam Altman wants to spend $1.4 trillion just for OpenAI on CapEx expenses. That's not the market, that's just the CapEx. And that's where you just get to this whole stupidity. So it's not AI is bad, it's just AI is not worth that much. And so what's interesting here is where, I'm about to have a fucking migraine or a heart attack or a stroke or something else. Nvidia says there's no guarantee OpenAI will proceed with the $100 billion mega deal, but the firm remains disciplined with its execution. So they're going to give OpenAI $100 billion unless they don't give OpenAI $100 billion. And I'll just reiterate the $100 billion here, because this isn't $100 million. $100 million is a lot, but in the corporate world, it's not. It's not $1 billion or even $10 billion. So they put, right, in order to continue this fraud on a global scale, what they do is they put this number on the table to make everybody, wow, look at how much money is going on in the AI space, but then say, or maybe not. Like, this deal is either worth $100 billion, $100 billion, or maybe it's not worth $100 billion. But focus on the $100 billion when you're thinking about our $5 trillion market cap. So yeah, this is the thing that's now going on with Nvidia, where they seem to be walking back their commitments to invest in these other companies in this whole AI goat screw. I just don't know, right? Nvidia had entered into a mega deal with OpenAI a few weeks ago. So it's just a couple of weeks ago this happened. But uncertainties still surround the partnership, which may not ultimately result in a final agreement. One of the things I talk about is kind of like the trends going on in the modern world. And this is one of the big trends that's going on under the Trump administration. Again, put Trump to the side. Trump has nothing to do with this particular video. But one of the things with the Trump administration, this whole thing of they come out with sound bites. They come out with things that make very good headlines. They don't actually come back with, trade treaties. They don't actually get things ratified by Congress as treaty, and then it all kinds of falls apart, right? There's this whole thing right now where Trump said that China will buy X amount of soybeans, and then China doesn't seem to be buying that many soybeans. It's that weird kind of thing. And so what's interesting here, again, we talk about these trends, is what seems to be going on in the AI world now is that they're putting out these huge headlines, but without the actual fundamental contractual agreement, so that we don't really know what the hell is going on, which is a bit of a metaphor for what's going on, right? For those unaware, the Nvidia OpenAI partnership has scaled up to a massive $100 billion partnership, marking one of the largest collaborations by the AI giant. It involved a 10 gigawatt compute capacity build out around next-gen Vera Rubin systems. Not only was the deal seen by massive optimism amongst the common people, but it also brought in a huge customer for Nvidia's next-gen AI lineup, essentially guaranteeing its adoption. However, according to the latest 10Q filing, right? So this is the filing that goes to the SEC. This is the filing that can get your ass put in jail if you lie. It is revealed that deals made with companies like OpenAI, Intel, and Anthropic may not materialize at all, or the terms may be modified along the way. So yeah, all these really stupid circular financial deals we've been hearing about for the past couple of months? Yeah, they may not even fucking exist. Christ. Quote from the 10Q filing. This is from the 10Q filing. There is no assurance that we will enter into definitive agreements with respect to the OpenAI opportunity or other potential investments, or that any investment will be completed on expected terms. Yeah. Of course, this certainly doesn't indicate the fallout of an Nvidia OpenAI deal, as the 10Q filing is primarily about risk disclosures. However, it is not incorrect to say that Team Green still needs to finalize the agreement into an end contract, similar to what AMD did with OpenAI. For those unaware, Nvidia has been entering into massive deals consistently over the past few months, with notable examples including partnerships with OpenAI, Intel, and Anthropic, all involving infrastructure build-out or the prospect of it. One of the key concerns in the industry is whether the AI firms involved in this deal can actually secure the necessary financial means to commit to the agreement, right? And that's one of the big questions that's come up, right? I think right now OpenAI has secured something like $1 trillion in agreements, right? It's like $350 billion of agreements with Oracle. God knows what their agreements are with Nvidia, tens of billions of dollars with Microsoft and other companies. But this is what they agreed to. Whether or not they can actually pay any of that is a really big question. Interestingly, Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, discussed this during his interview with Bloomberg News after reporting the Q3 earnings. Quote from Jensen Huang, "Well, we're thoughtful, along with OpenAI, thoughtful in aligning on and taking into consideration visibility of demand and their financing capabilities. All of that has to be in accordance, has to be aligned, has to be coherent before we start to build out. And so I think the ambition's large, but the execution is disciplined. And that's really, really important to recognize." So basically with these agreements, They might be coming out to say this is what the ambition is, which we all knew, but the actual execution may be more disciplined. So yeah, that's what's now going on with the colossal AI circle jerk that is basically trying to defraud the American and really the global investment community. Maybe if we can pretend these deals are actually being done, that will get investors excited enough to give us more money. Really think about how nefarious this really might be, right? As I say, distrust, verify, stay suspicious, right? Always. If things go well, great. Expect things to go poorly. That's just my rule of thumb here. And think about this for a second, right? So all of these agreements, and I've been talking about this for a while, where this whole issue of they can't get enough real investor money, so therefore they're trying to boost the valuations by essentially moving money amongst themselves, right? So the idea is, hey, if Anthropic can't get normal investors to invest in them, they get Microsoft and Nvidia to give them $15 billion so that they have the money to buy the services from Microsoft and Nvidia, right? On paper, that looks like a virtuous cycle. They're getting investments in order to pay for these expenses so that they can grow and get more investments. But those investments that are coming in, those investments are coming from their vendors, right? But if you're a little bit drunk and you look out of the corner of your eye, maybe that doesn't look nefarious as hell to you. But what's kind of interesting here, right? What if they are driving their valuations up based off of these circular business agreements that aren't even business deals? So when you go to invest into OpenAI, they want an IPO of $1 trillion. They're eyeballing $1 trillion IPO. You go to invest into OpenAI, or you go to invest in Nvidia or whatever else, you see this business occurring. You think you see business occurring. Therefore, you come to an idea of what you think the value should be, and you buy based off of that. But then what you find out is these weren't business agreements. These weren't contracts. These aren't legally binding, signatures between the two parties. This is just puffery that has been put out to the world to make it seem as if these companies are and I do mean this, exponentially far more successful than they really are, right? And so beyond the idiocy of this AI boom, right, it is appearing that even that idiocy is simply fucking puffery for them to line their own pockets. Who the fuck cares what happens to the world when they do it? Who the fuck cares what happens to Americans, right, when these tech oligarchs decide they want more cash? Right? Again, that's what we're talking about, right? The electricity bills are going through the roof in many parts of the country in order to build these big AI data centers. And one of the big things that I've been arguing for a while now is why most people that I know do not really give that much of a damn about AI. Not to that degree. Right? So these people, Jensen Huang is intentionally degrading, right, the quality of life of Americans simply through his puffery so that he can boost the valuation of Nvidia. And at some point, it's all gonna fucking fall apart because that's what always happens, right? WeWork was never worth $47 billion. SoftBank did a lot of stupid shit to make the optics appear that's what the valuation should be, and then they went bankrupt with like $2 billion in debt or whatever else. Basically, that's all that's happening here. They figured out how to hyperscale SoftBank, and that is a bad thing. So what do you think about this? What do you think about Nvidia's deal with OpenAI? Not really being the deal we probably all thought it was. However stupid we thought it was, yeah, it's not even really that. What do you think about the circular investment cycle, these circular agreements that aren't actually circular contracts, not even contracts, all can get pulled away? What do you think about this? Put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a dumbass. Just be a real Lutnick and put a strong American comment down there. Do you remember I do these videos in order to support Silicon Dojo, free to end user hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever the hell it is you want to do in life. We have classes coming up in Durham, North Carolina. If you're interested, take a look at our schedule at silicondojo.com. These are in-person classes, to be clear. If you want to help support my project, there's a donor box link down below. And with that, see y'all later.